G'day and thanks for tuning into the official Mechanic.com.au podcast, Australia's #1 podcast for automotive service and repair. In each episode, we interview experts from all different areas of the automotive industry, and the best part is, you get to ask the questions. To find out who we're interviewing next and submit your question, head over to Mechanic.com.au. And if you aren't already a member, make sure you create a free account. Okay, in this episode of the Mechanic.com.au podcast, we're joined by Mark Davis of Exedy Clutch. Welcome to the show, Mark.
G'day, Ryan. How are you?
Good, mate. Good. Do you want to start off by telling us a bit about what you do over at Exedy and what your role is there?
Yeah, so I'm the product manager here at Exedy Australia, and I'm responsible for developing new products, pricing the new products, cataloguing them, and I also get involved in purchasing, warranty, and we have a small production department here that I also oversee.
Sure. Sounds like you wear a lot of hats.
Yes, too many, I think, sometimes.
All right. Now, as you're probably familiar with, we throw open to the community for some questions for brands prior to the podcast. We've got a few that we'll punch through to start off with, so let's jump straight into them. The first one we've got here is from Rodney McCullum. Rodney asks, why do some clutch kits come with everything required, including the spigot and aligning tool, and others don't? And I'll just add on the back of that, we held a member survey some time ago, and some of the complaints or issues that some customers had just in general with clutch kits is sometimes sourcing flywheel bolts when they need to be replaced, as well as locating torque specifications. So can you shed any light on that one?
Yeah, absolutely. It's an excellent question. Not all crank bolts need to be replaced, but general rule of thumb is anything that is a torque to yield bolt should be replaced every time the flywheel's removed from the crankshaft. We have a program that we're looking to include basically crank bolts with all of our DMF and SMF clutch kits. But one of the challenges we face is that automotive crank bolts are typically an unusual pitch and are not readily available. So a lot of the crank bolts we have to have developed ourselves, and that's obviously there's a bit of a process involved there. So, but that is part of our program. We understand how important they are, replacement crank bolts, and we're looking to ensure in the future that all of our SMF and DMF kits are supplied with replacement bolts. The alignment tools in the spigot bearings is a little bit of a different one. We do have the 5-piece kit program, so that's the clutch cover disc bearing with a spigot, or I should say release bearing, and a spigot bearing and alignment tool. That's something that we really want to expand. We know how valuable that is to have that complete solution. So that is an ongoing, I guess, process for us. We have over 3,500 clutch kits in our range, so we're kind of working from the most popular clutch kit back, if you like, and including tools and spigots as we go.
Great. And on the torque specification side of things, what would be the best approach to try and nail down the correct torque specs?
Yes, so if your listeners visit our website, www.exedy.com.au, they can look up the vehicle on the clutch finder. And for many vehicles, we've actually updated the crank bolt torque specification. So if they look up the vehicle and there's a little eye that sits next to the clutch kit part number, they can click on that eye and it gives them some specifications. Sometimes there's the R&R time in there. There's the crank bolt torque specifications and some other information like the flywheel profile and the like. So it's not exhaustive, I would say, but as we learn that information, we add that to our catalogue.
Sure, and I imagine most data providers do have that information as well to some extent, but it's good to know that there's some info on the Exedy website to fall back on as well. So, fantastic, mate. We'll kick on to the next one. This one's from Travis Taylor. Why don't you warrant HD clutch kits?
Yes, that's another excellent question. Just recently, on this topic, I guess, we've been updating our T's and C's. And just to clarify the subject of warranty, we've made some changes, and we now extend the full 12-month, 20,000 kilometre warranty to all of the products that we sell out of this office. There was a little bit of confusion around our warranty offering, and to avoid that confusion, we stand by our product. We believe it's the best in the market, so we extend the full 12-month 20K warranty against faulty material or manufacturing defect for all of our products.
Oh, fantastic. And while we're on the topic of warranties, can you tell us a bit about the extended warranty program and the trade experiences on the website?
Yeah, absolutely. So customers can extend their warranty to 24 months, 40K, and it's a really simple process. There's a one-time sign-up, again, at our website, Exedy.com.au, and they can click on purchase registration, jump in there, just put some a little bit of detail, and it's a one-time sign-up. Fill that detail in, and then once you register the purchase of that clutch kit, you go into the draw to receive entry into some of the Exedy trade experiences, which include tickets to Clipsal, NRL State of Origin, Melbourne Cup, all sorts of good prizes.
Okay, so by registering the clutch, it doubles up the warranty and enters you into the draw to these competitions.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Great.
Yeah,
and
awesome. Probably another good point on that is for subsequent purchases, it's quite easy. Once the customer purchases the clutch kit, they can use a free QR scanner to scan the barcode, or the QR code, I should say, on the clutch kit.
Yep.
Yeah, that brings them up to the registration page, and all they need to do is put in their username and password, and then it pre-populates some fields and basically pushes the registration directly into our system. Very, very simple. No need to go through the process of signing up again.
Nice. I love it.
Yeah.
All right. The next question we've got here is from Daniel Williams. So Daniel asks, how can clutch shudder be avoided in Subarus? When fitting a new clutch and grinding the flywheel, on some occasions he's still experienced that. Is that something you've struck over there at Exedy? And have you got any suggestions to help deal with that one?
Yeah, we certainly do hear of shutters in the marketplace. Clutch shudder and slipping are probably two of the more common problems experienced. And particularly, I think Subaru is probably disproportionate in the area of clutch shudder. And a couple of things that we have found is Daniel mentions he's had the flywheel ground there. One thing to be mindful of is that Subaru have used both a single mass cast iron flywheel, which is very easily machined, but also Subaru in later model vehicles, they use what we term a flexible flywheel, which is a cast insert that's attached to a press metal flex plate. And we do not recommend that these type of flex flywheels are machined, because unless you really remove the cast insert from the flex plate, it's very difficult to grind that truly, and that can result in clutch shudder. Something else that we've come across is release forks, clutch release forks in particularly turbo Imprezas. If a worn clutch release fork is reinstalled into the vehicle, the bearing doesn't allow the bearing basically to pull back truly or concentrically on the nose cone, and can also result in clutch shudder. We had one experience here in Victoria where the vehicle was shuddered horrendously in first and reverse, and the installer removed the old fork, replaced the fork, didn't touch the other clutch components, and it was a different vehicle to drive. So that's a really, really important one to look at as well.
Can make a hell of a difference.
It does.
Okay. Now, as far as other common problems that are cropping up, obviously things evolve pretty quick in this industry. Is there anything that you've seen any patterns with that would be of benefit to our listeners to keep an eye out for? Yeah,
a customer recently experienced a really strange one on a V-dub Amarok, where the clutch pedal was returning really slowly from the floor. And upon investigation, it was found there's a little breather tube that attaches the concentric slave cylinder to the hydraulic line, and that breather tube was weeping. It had actually failed. These breather tubes we offer a replacement part, and once replacing the part with the new breather tube, it was like a different vehicle. So that's just something to keep an eye out for. It took our customer quite a while to identify that, so it might save somebody else some headaches. Something else that's come to light of recent times, and it relates to clutches maybe from another era, but clutches for early Chevs, Holdens, Fords, and Mazda Rotaries. The clutch covers in some of those earlier vehicles didn't require a dowel pin to centrally locate them. They utilised a dowel bolt, or a bolt with a shoulder, which basically performs the same job as a dowel pin. But over the years, the clutches have been replaced, the bolts have been lost, and just general normal type high tensile bolts have been used to reaffix cover assemblies to flywheels. But in the absence of that dowel locating mechanism, the clutch cover can move around on the flywheel, and we have seen some failures where the clutch cover will end up eventually shearing through the bolt. So it's just one to keep in the back of the memory books. The dowel bolts are available, still available. We do offer a range of dowel bolts. And it's just something to keep in the back of the mind when replacing a clutch on one of those earlier vehicles that doesn't have dowel pins in the flywheel. Make sure that some dowel bolts are used when putting the cover back on the flywheel.
Absolutely, good point. Those two are more or less vehicle specific. In the amount of clutches that you move and the things that you see, is there anything typical on the workshop level that you see as far as common problems or things that catch mechanics out?
When you're installing a clutch and you can't get it to work, one of the really good things that people can do is just bolt put the disc on the flywheel, bolt the clutch cover up, and put it under a drill press, and just depress the diaphragm by 6 to 8 millimeters. If the clutch disc is free, the clutch is working, and it means that you can start looking somewhere else. And I always think that's a really simple way of determining, if the clutch is at fault or I need to start looking somewhere else.
Absolutely, that's a great simple test we can do, and most workshops have got a drill press. What would be your next one?
Well, it's a bit of an oldie but a goodie, and we still see this more often than we'd like to see, is a failure to actually grind or machine flywheels. And
really?
If I had $1 for every time someone said to me, it looked fine, I hit it with a bit of emery or rough paper and it brought it up, it was fine, I wouldn't need to work anymore.
Wow, I'm really surprised by that.
Yeah, when I hear that, I often say to the person, well, have you got a straight edge there? Yes, grab a straight edge, put it across the clutch disc operating surface of the flywheel, and tell me if you can see daylight under the inside diameter of the flywheel. And often there is a significant taper there, and if that flywheel's not machined, the clutch really doesn't have a good start to life. It's not going to make even contact on the flywheel, and most likely will lead to a premature wear or other associated problems.
Absolutely. I mean, you're going to the effort to drop a gearbox. I mean, that's in my opinion, just giving the flywheel a skim is probably the easiest task, isn't it?
I would think so. But I guess from time to time, people are in a bit of a rush to get the job out, and it might look to the naked eye, it might look okay, but that's just one simple check to run the straight edge across, just to see and make sure that the flywheel is serviceable. And we always recommend that they're machined. And I guess that also leads into we would also recommend, and it doesn't always happen, but just taking a little bit of time to take a look at the associated parts in the clutch environment. So the release fork. If it's a pressed metal fork, just have a good look over the fork if there's any cracks. If it's a cast iron fork, look for wear where the fork operates on the release bearing, and look for wear where the fork is operating on the pivot ball. Take a look at the pivot ball, see if that's in serviceable condition. Clutch slave cylinder, and then up to the master cylinder and the hydraulic line in between. It's kind of all the components. If they're not functioning correctly, there's a weak link in the chain. It will result in some form of clutch problem, maybe a clutch disengagement or similar.
Sure, yeah, I guess you've got to take a holistic approach to the system and make sure that it's all serviceable. As you say, there's going to be one weak link is all it takes to bring it undone.
Yeah.
Just while we're on the topic of flywheels, what's Exedy's position on replacing a dual mass flywheel with a single mass?
Yeah, we take what we term an agnostic approach to flywheel replacement. So at Exedy, we have a full range of dual mass flywheel clutch kits, and we also have a range of single mass flywheel clutch kits. And our approach, we would like to offer both to the market, because we believe that there is demand for both types of flywheels in the market. And I would say that from the point of view of a single mass flywheel has a purpose. So typically, if the customer, they've normally in a four-wheel drive application, they've done some engine modifications, they're a serious off-roader. By converting to a single mass flywheel, there's one less component that can potentially fail and lead them to being stuck somewhere. And also for the conscious, economy-conscious customer, single mass flywheel clutch kits are typically cheaper than dual mass flywheel systems. But by converting to a single mass flywheel, we change the noise, vibration, and harmonic properties of the system. So a single mass flywheel would not dampen noise and vibration as well as a dual mass flywheel. So if you have a customer that needs a robust clutch and is not too worried, clutch and flywheel, and is not too worried about noise and vibration, then the single mass flywheel is ideally a great way to go. But by the same token, if you have a customer that is conscious of cabin noise and really is looking for a direct replacement for the original equipment system, and perhaps funds are readily available or not such a concern, then a dual mass flywheel system might be more appropriate to them. It's a very interesting topic, and there's a lot to think about. So we did write a technical bulletin, which we can share with you, Ryan, and that was written from the purpose or point of view to share with guys at the workshops, and they can share that prior to the sale of one system or the other. They can share that document with the vehicle owner. The vehicle owner can have a read through, and they can really make an informed decision on which way they would like to go.
You've nailed it. That's a great way to put it. I guess it's not always just the price sensitivity that's the consideration, but because in some applications that it can introduce a bit of noise, vibration, and harshness into the vehicle as well. So they're all things that have got to be weighed up.
Absolutely.
All right, got through those ones. Before I let you go, what has Exedy currently got in the works as far as new products are concerned?
Yes, we have a couple of new to range products. One interesting one for any rev heads is what we term our Devil clutch range. We have this particular product sits within our Sports Tough performance range and is supplied with a high clamping load or high clamp force clutch cover assembly, and that clamp force of that particular cover assembly is higher than anything else that we have in our range. And we mate that together with a clutch disc that has a combination organic and cerometallic friction material, and that's also supplied with a steel billet flywheel. So it's a kind of a good streetable clutch with a very high torque capacity. It's been recently released into the range, and it's doing pretty well.
Yeah, that's a good one for a performance audience. We've got quite a few guys that do a bit of motorsports and what have you in the community. Is there anything else as far as light or heavy vehicles are concerned?
Yeah, we've also recently developed and released a range of commercial flywheels. And by commercial, I'm referencing Japanese trucks such as Isuzu, Mitsubishi, Nissan, and Hino. And we saw that there was a particular demand for replacement flywheels in the aftermarket, given that many of those Japanese trucks utilise a clutch disc with ceramic facing, which is typically very aggressive on flywheels. And often the only resource or source for commercial flywheels is the OEMs, the truck dealers themselves. But we've developed a range. We have over 40 part numbers now, and our product is high quality entry into the market, supplied with dowel pins and Japanese pilot bearings. Fantastic.
I'll be sure to link that one up too for those in the community that deal with the heavy vehicles. And I think that pretty much sums it up, Mark. It's been a great interview there.
Excellent. Thanks very much for your time, Ryan.
Good stuff. You too. Thanks, Mark. See ya.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks for listening. We hope you enjoyed this episode of the Mechanic.com.au podcast. If you know anyone who might also get some value out of this episode, make sure you hit that share button. Keep your eyes peeled for the announcement of the next Mechanic.com.au podcast to find out who we're interviewing and how you can get your questions answered. See you next time.